Excuse me. This evening is Monday, November 27th, 2023. It is 7 p.m. and I will call the meeting of the Sykesville Town Council and myself to order. Let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And that brief moment of silence, please. Okay, thank you, everyone. All right, the first item on our agenda is for public comment. Do we have anyone who has made their need to speak available to us?
No one has signed up.
Okay, thank you. I'll skip my little thing then. Here we go to our first item on the agenda, which is our minutes, our consent agenda, which is inclusive of our minutes from November 13th, 2023. I assume that everyone here at the table has reviewed the minutes. Excellent. And without any questions or concerns, I'm looking for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Thank you, Councilman Grassley.
Second?
Thank you, Councilman Dyer. All in favor of the approval of the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone with opposition? All right. Unanimously, the consent agenda is approved. Our next item is our first item of new business, which is an update on the station progress from Dante Laboratory and Stazione Incorporated. Really don't have a lot to announce except for the fact that we are excited to hear the current status of the station, and our goal here this evening is to get a flavor for what it is that you're hoping to recommend to us and to the MHT, Maryland Historic Trust, as well as the Historic District Commission for review and approval. So before we would go on to that step, obviously the council wants to make sure we're all on the same page. So I invite Dante or your representative to the podium. All right,
Good evening,
thank you.
everyone.
Good evening, Dante.
Is this visible from everybody?
It is for me.
No, the podium's in the...
Why don't you
Is it
slide?
very movable, or should I move this?
I could stay up. I could stay up for a little bit.
I think I can move the podium a little further back.
That's good.
There we go.
Perfect. Oh.
That's perfect.
Leo, you can see
Maybe
that?
shift it to, can you see it, Mark?
Yes.
Okay,
Now you stop.
All right.
thank you, Dante.
Again, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
We met here some months ago when we were in the negotiations of acquiring space. And now our team has had the opportunity to create a visual for everyone. Prior to pointing out various aspects of it, I'd just like to remind everyone how honored and fortunate we feel to be considered stewards of this building, and how we have every intention to preserve, retain, and introduce items and period, what's the term we like to use? Period appropriate materials for this project. And there's a lot of contingencies going on, which all of us seem to want the same thing, but we have to make sure that what we are proposing will be blessed by you good folks and then by the Maryland Historical. From my understanding, just so I am clear, is it a tier of authority in how the voting of this works for what is approved? Is it something that we're taking it to the Maryland Historical Chapter? Is that correct?
Yes, so because your building is on the National Register of Historic Places, and because therefore that puts it in the hands of the Maryland Historic Trust, who basically acts as the state level of the National Historic, the National Registry, and they're stewards of that. So interior and exterior changes to a building like that must be approved by the Maryland Historic Trust. The Sykesville Historic District Commission actually has purview over the exterior of any contributing building in the historic district, and of course this is one of them. So it would first go to the Historic District Commission, and then those recommendations, or vice versa, I'm not sure, but it would almost make sense for the HTC to
Yeah, I think it's
the
more of a
blessing
parallel
first.
path.
Yeah, and then hopefully then they'd be able to, the Historic District Commission would, on behalf of the town and the council would be able to make those recommendations to MHT.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think just to reiterate what we discussed I'm going to stand behind this again. Just to reiterate what we said some months ago, how this is such a focal part of Sykesville, how the vibrancy of the town in some way, not so much depends on it, but if the Sykesville station creates a draw, creates an appeal, it's good for the town, it's good for the merchants, it's good for everyone. And we feel that we have amassed the right team, the right concept, something that will complement the entire town. In attendance this evening is my friend Jack Lancelotta, who's not only going to be the project manager of GC, but probably no one else is more familiar with this building than Jack is now. We measured every corner of it, we know all its attributes, we know all its deficiencies. I think, has everyone got a chance to see what the CAD drawing that we prepared?
Yes.
Okay, great. Joe Leatherman's another dear friend who has been part of our organization for decades. He's designed many of our restaurants, and I'll let Joe further quantify his familiarity with the Historical Society and his expertise in this field. So what we plan on doing in and out of the building, on the lower picture, we all are familiar with what's currently there now. Everyone walked in saying how cold it is tonight. You can't see the restaurant tonight. You can't put customers out there this evening. It's November. So we are looking to build something that is enclosed, temperature controlled, but still does not interfere with the actual historic building. Obviously the awning and everything that's there now, that's not part of something that was from 1884. So we're simply going to remove that tent, that simple aluminum frame, and introduce something that will retain the warmth, or in air conditioning, the cool. This area down here, Jack, are we able to put that on at this time?
I think we can.
Sorry.
There's a couple different versions we'd like everyone to take a look at and see what you think. This area here, and I'll spin around a few times, represents a half wall, which pretty much now is that aluminum steel fence that's there now. So we want to introduce a half wall here and then have casement windows to enclose it. Instead of having this plastic tent aluminum frame, we want to introduce something that does not disrupt the view of the building, coming up slightly higher and giving more headroom inside. And Jack will show us that in a minute. The upper picture, this represents here where the kitchen is now. The kitchen, of course, is not anything as part of the historical, but it is grossly inadequate. It is just a shanty building that they just jammed under this overhang. It's inadequate in every sense. And we are proposing building something slightly larger, more complementary to the building, but compliant as far as exterior concerns. This building, surprisingly, as we got further and further into our due diligence, has single phase 220 amp, meaning the same amount of power that you have in your home, they're running that restaurant. It's grossly inadequate. You have that up?
Oh, I thought I did. My pleasure, man. And my apologies.
Apology accepted.
Don't let it happen again, Joe.
The TV, huh?
It worked great the first time we plugged in.
Is the TV on?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. There it is. Taskbar much?
So that is the view from Howard County crossing over into the bridge. That would be spin that the way it was just before, Jack, if you could, there you go. And if you can get that a little closer. So instead of having that plastic awning, and zoom back out a little bit, Jack. Instead of having that plastic awning with it flapping in the wind and such, we're proposing something that looks like this. That, of course, now we're facing, I guess that would be,
Main Street.
well, facing east in that direction.
Mm.
Facing west, actually, excuse me, that's facing west.
So I was a little bit confused in reference to the pitch. Does it go along the current roof?
So the current roof is just bolted to that gutter end.
Yeah.
And what we're proposing and what we are looking for is to go up higher. No, certainly.
As it is currently laid out with that little skinny piece of canvas that provides you on the best days, it's hot as hell in there.
Got it. That helps a
But-
lot.
That helps good, yes.
Yeah,
And
and
that,
to kick it up a bit, just so that we can get better circulation, the space could work better also. For material choices, it was one of those things also with that more shallow pitch. I was recommending to the gentleman on the team that we go with something of standing seam metal, perhaps, that will function better in a slower pitch and still be complementary of stylistic materials that would have been available.
I was just gonna ask, I believe that the current roof is slate,
Mhm.
and then you're proposing to use, seam,
Standing seam metal.
okay.
Excellent.
The standing seam metal would allow us to be able to differentiate between the historic part and the new part.
And obviously, you're not doing anything to the current roof line, it's just attaching to where it
right,
is.
it still exists, it tucks under.
It's
Yeah.
staying inside, and as you can kind of see it in this spot right here.
It's gonna be really appreciated inside now.
And you'll still be able to see the scalloped ends of the rafter tails in there.
Yep.
And then in the other space, what I call the freight room, that basically is the same. We've conceived this idea of a steel train girder as a decorative piece in there, and perhaps maybe some structural element for changing the openings possibly in there.
What Jack's referring to is inside, what's currently the bar. So when you're looking at that wall, and another thing that's interesting from my perspective, I'm at the restaurant in Eldersburg, 1.5 miles away. Everyone knows about our taking this space, and everyone is excited, but they are quick to tell me you're gonna fix this. Tell me you're gonna fix that. And so it starts with congratulations,
But
and one of the issues that we have is the flow of the place.
Yeah.
And the lack of accessibility and compliancy that we have in the restrooms and the two-tier. Someone comes in now, wants to go to the freight room, you have to take them outside, wheel them all the way out around in a cold area, and bring them up top.
That is also
Sir,
the access travel for the handicapped accessible toilet.
Yes, of course. Mm-hmm.
So it's just one problem on top
In-
of another.
and I'm bouncing all over the place because it's a fluid project, of course, but in the expansion of the kitchen, we're also introducing 2 more restrooms. Both of which, Jack, we can see that?
Yeah.
Both of which, as you can see, will be
ADA.
ADA compliant.
Can you zoom out a little bit more so I can see the placement? Okay. So where the one bathroom is
Those
immediately.
are
the other
Existing
wall.
bathrooms are right here in the middle, and then the other bathrooms would be in the new addition part. There's already a bathroom where one of those bathrooms is.
Yep.
But it's going to be modified a little bit to create a little bit of extra space to get both of them in there. And then the other bathroom was just for staff.
Okay.
Which is the other part from, something that when we design our locations, we do not like the staff going out and dining, using the restroom, go back. There's just something unsettling about that. So we put that in within the confines of the addition.
Nice.
Okay? Any questions about the outside?
Just a quick question. The half wall, as you referred to it, that is, imagining it, that color palette that you have there is what we're.
Nothing along the color palette Stacy has been chosen.
I would just like to see it a continuation, I think, of the red brick. Yeah.
Absolutely, and we would gladly,
Well, that's
Welcome
a-
the
that's a
comments
big-
to that.
That deck, if you will, that,
Yes.
from there down to grade, that would be sheaths of brick.
Excellent. Yeah.
Then I was seeing that as more of a painted panel kind of.
could we see that
detail.
perspective, Jack,
Much like you
from
see
the
of
rails?
the raised panels and the door, of the millwork that's in the of the building proper, to use that as a jumping off point stylistically.
Are you referring to the
Right,
replace? Okay, so what we're looking at there is the actual building structure. It's not out in front of it like the
You're-
fence was.
No, exactly, this.
It's inside of the fence
That wall
line.
is where that fence is now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That fence is gone, and that's what's there instead. That stone is below grade.
Okay.
Stacy, that is the actual 24-inch stone foundation wall
Excellent.
that holds up the
It's
station.
actually the existing deck depicted right there.
I got it now. With that zoom in, it makes sense to me now. So you're speaking of the raised panels below the encasement or the casement windows, and from a color palette perspective, we would be repeating likely the color palette of the house.
Something
Yeah.
that's.
Nothing that will,
Okay.
everything flattering, everything complimentary, everything that goes with the look of it.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Question,
Yes.
can you walk me through how how it's handicap accessible getting in the front door now? So if we're not taking the ramp out around the back and the bathrooms in the back, where does someone in a wheelchair or handicap enter this building now?
The accessibility of it through that ramp that exists now still is our point of entry.
Okay, so they're still coming in the back?
Along that side, that's correct.
Okay.
The other part I've yet to discuss when we go inside, which is the flow of the restaurant as it currently is configured is too confining and it's not accessible to everyone because of the steps.
The levels.
So if we get a view of that, Jack, what we are in need of, proposing, asking, and truly in need of for the flow, this is, has anyone ever been into that area below the freight room? It's a remarkable area. 16-foot ceilings, I don't know what these are doing there, but it is a dungeon in there.
It's something.
Wow.
It's remarkable. So the only way to access this particular cavity is through an access panel in the top part of the freight room. It's very interesting.
Corner up towards close to the kitchen.
Correct. I bring that to light because Jack, and I don't think anyone's more familiar with this building than this gentleman is right now. He's measured every corner, he knows ins and outs of it. It's remarkable. The floor, in fact, Jack, I'd rather turn it over to you from a structural perspective. If you can explain to everyone how the foundation walls are the same throughout and the dropping of the floor.
All of the stone foundation walls are at the same level, just like if you see a new house being built today, the top of the concrete is right there, and then the sill plates go on top of that, and you build the rest of it. It's kind of like balloon framing, if you know what that is, but done in brick. And so the brick goes all the way down to the top of the foundation, and that's what you can see in that area right there. In the existing freight room at this point, what's different, I'm depicting what we're proposing, that space between the top of the stone and what is that red line, which is the floor system, the new floor system, that space is actually, it's 41 inches from the top of the stone wall to the top of the floor, and it's about 30 inches between, whereas now we're showing about 12 inches. If you go into the cellar, if you go down
So much higher, that's what you're saying.
currently it's about 19 inches higher.
Yeah.
That's what creates the
That's what
steps.
creates
from
those
the
three
bar into the
steps.
freight room, of course.
This would be the same as if you go into the area where is now storage for the current, for the past restaurant, where there's the concrete floor and there's the furnaces. You can actually see the very same exact or very similar space between the top of the stone wall and where the brick is. So basically, we would just be removing and preserving and catalog, if we need to, the joists and all the materials that are existing in there, and then build a new floor system at a level that makes the entire building accessible once you're in on one level.
Literally just dropping that floor down.
And then, but that also has a benefit on the exterior, if you've been out there now, where there's a series of ramps and steps and that can be taken out. And then that outdoor covered current covered patio area.
You wouldn't need a ramp in the patio anymore. It'd be
Becomes
one
more
bathroom
usable,
that
more
floats.
clear flow.
Other than the one that's there. outside.
So
Other than when it's outside, correct?
the floor is not original then?
No.
They, whoever at whatever
My-
time lifted it up.
My guess is that for the moving of the freight or whatever they were using, that was more of a practical solution, that when it was up at this height to get it in and out of cars. I don't know, I'm not a.
I definitely think it was a loading dock height,
Right.
whatever was needed at that time.
So the height that it is currently is original, or it is not?
Likely,
Yes.
Oh, it is
yeah,
original,
yeah.
okay.
But you said the floor.
but designed for that use
Understood.
of the space.
And the finished surface is not original. There's
Oh,
two
yeah.
layers of subfloor, and then there's like Bruce or some sort of pre-finished wood flooring on top of it.
Okay, so the hardwood that's there now is not original?
Not in this freight room space, correct?
Okay, all right. So it's not that we would want you to deconstruct it, preserve it?
Oh,
because it's
I'd
original.
be the first one calling for that if it was.
Okay,
And again, showing you that the kind of team we want, we're trying to preserve it. We can simply take that same floor and where you see that stone foundation throughout, in essence, there's piers holding up.
Yep.
If you remove that pier and drop it down, we can put the same floor back.
Mm-hmm.
There just have to be no steps. It would just flow.
And on that note, for this space, we would need a new floor, and for the space that we create in the back, we would need a new floor. And we're gonna use a repurposed floor. There's a place in Thurmont called Vintage Lumber, that's one of our sources, and we would go there and find something that would fit the building and put that in. That would be the plan.
And again, now you have the deck, the freight room, the bar, all one egress, all one level.
Such a great idea.
So
Glad I
do the
thought of it.
steps go away then, that are there now?
Yes.
So you don't have, so you come in and you're just at,
Yes.
you're at level?
So you
Exactly.
need the
Wow.
existing
So
waiting
that's
rooms
what,
and whatnot.
and looking at it from a restaurant perspective, we need that. That room that's there now is defined by the step.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
yes.
You know, the room is, where the step begins is the new rooms. That room is too small to make a bar, the next room is too small to make a bar. You make it the same level,
So
and
there's-
you create
there's
an
a lot
opening
more
of some kind.
opportunities.
I'm not here to tell you that we have every aspect of it decided, but what we recognize is that it needs to flow. It needs to be equally accessible to everyone. And by dropping that, now we got something.
And the hatch that's in the floor in the freight room, you can still utilize that, or that would,
It's there, it's not utilized now. Yes, you can for
When I first
accessibility.
went in there the first day, before we went to this level of thought of tearing off the old kitchen, and I just hated the fact that I was watching employees leave the building, go outside, lift up a cellar hatch
Yes.
to go. So it's just like, but there's this huge ceiling basement, like steps away from the kitchen. And so earlier sketches, you know, ideas and conversation was, if there was a way to get from the kitchen into that space, because even just lowering that ceiling, you know, that floor down 18, 19 inches, we still got plenty of ceiling height to make it a usable,
yeah.
you know, support space to the kitchen, you know, if it's necessary. But because we're gonna be increasing the footprint of that kitchen,
You may not.
There's
need
no
to.
fun going outside in the rain to get onions in the basement and run back upstairs.
there's a lot of staff turnover. that can work.
We're trying not, we hope that the volume is such that we need the bandwidth to be able to operate properly. I mean, we have aspirations for this location, we need it to be capable
Yeah, and
of such.
And one of the things that is the first sort of request, if you will, leaving the freight room to get to the outside now, when we lower that floor level, we're gonna have to lower the sill,
Mhm.
the threshold of that door opening,
Yep,
you know.
yep.
Not change the head, but just make it a deeper thing. And I was pondering it over the weekend, it's like, gives us the opportunity then also to get the non-historic aluminum storefront door that's in that opening
Thank you so
out of
much.
there. And
Yes.
something that would be framed in wood and be more period appropriate and connect correctly.
This is with our backs to the kitchen, Jack?
Yes.
Yeah, so you kind of see where that space right there is, under that sill line.
The waiting room, as it is now, we walk into the left, practically unchanged. And
Okay.
it suits us in a sense that it's a private room. It's for those who don't want to be in the main room, if you will. So very little changes are gonna be introduced there, other than some paint
Sure.
and such. Actually, we need sound deafening material in there, it's, everything's a hard
Oh, yeah, the first time I walked
surface.
in, I was like,
So some sound
We're
absorbing
gonna get a lot of
material
upholstery
needs to be
together.
introduced as decor. But up here is where most of the change will take place. That's where the bar will be, some seating and such. The main attraction, as we all know, is the outside area. Every location that preceded us, the Baldwins, of course, and Sykesville Station, everyone has spoken to, the first area that wants to be seated is out there. Okay? So now, without that ramp in a way, you really have something far more conducive to private events and things like that. Okay?
How high is that half wall gonna be?
It's going to be low enough that you'll be able to look outside
Exactly.
as you're sitting there. It's
Okay.
probably depicted a little bit high in this
I'm
picture.
short, could I see out of it if I
No,
was
sorry.
sitting there?
Not the way it's depicted.
Table dining height is 30 inches, so 36.
Okay.
Right.
Something it's along those lines, because it's about bringing the outside, still bringing the outside in.
So if you sit at the table, you'll be able to look out against the wall, there'll still be room for olive oil bottles, something that talks about some upcoming promotions, a good looking ledge, and then casement
Oh, it
windows.
would be a student mistake if we had anything where we
Oh.
couldn't see out.
Right, I'd be like, wait a minute, I
Yeah.
guess.
No,
And
no,
the idea that also that
It's like you're in a
these
ship there.
casement windows would actually function.
Yeah,
And those are great,
beautiful.
beautiful days of the year that we get, not a lot, but
in fact, there's been a discussion about choosing the right windows that can withstand the trains going by, and making sure that it can handle the vibration that it creates.
And the ugly door that you're speaking of is the one I can see right there between the two yellow.
actually, no, it's actually behind you. Because that, I think that one,
I thought that is.
This one.
Oh, no, there it is. That's the metal one. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
And if we can have just one table just reserved for council members,
Sir.
so that. Exclusive, just.
You know, I was gonna bring that up yet. If I get the votes I want, like, what if I have to?
I thought it was a seat at the bar.
That too, that
From the customer experience also,
we'll do whatever you do.
from the customer experience, dropping the deck, lowering that, probably raising the ceiling a little bit, it just creates a very open, welcoming area. It's where people are gonna want to go.
Because my outside opinion, just the first time I saw it, was like, this doesn't add to the building, the present
No.
configuration.
Right, right.
It's just like, kind of got the right concept, but not the execution is really weak. So this is a great opportunity then to make something that feels substantial, feel comfortable. You know, that it does start to rain, it won't drown you out because it's not just a piece of canvas holding you between you and the weather.
Before we move on to the front or any other part that you want to move on to, can you go back outside for us? And because I got a sneak peek of these photos 2 Mondays ago, and not all of what we're seeing tonight, but the rear of the building.
Do you want the
That's
rear or
really-
the front?
Well, it's interesting, right? So the
That's
rail,
what Howard County do here,
yeah. So the rail side is considered the rear, correct?
correct.
Okay, so that view there, can you show them how the thoughtfulness went into repeating the gable? Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely, I wanted
I just
to,
wanted you to point
So
that
we
out.
pushed it forward.
Yeah,
Yeah, to take whatever structure we can.
yeah,
And
The
it's
actual
also in the
gable
kitchen.
couldn't come out.
yeah.
Oh, that's-
Very nice.
I didn't notice that before. That's great.
Neither, very good, man. Good job.
Thank you.
Looking
I'm
great.
glad I thought of it.
But you can also see there's similar kind of detailings at the gate.
Absolutely, yeah, I
At the
mean,
new kitchen
it's-
side also.
I saw that and I love it.
Yeah.
All right, you guys take the show over. I just wanted to see that.
No, no, no.
Things like color and like that, Stacy and council, we welcome creating, input from everyone, make sure it's blessed by all of you. But again, I can assure you, everything will be congruent to the look, not gonna be some silly colors or something that's not appropriate. Jack, how about any questions?
No.
The kitchen. If we could.
Mm-hmm.
from a floor plan perspective?
No, from an exterior perspective, actually, Jack. Just so I can make my case to everyone, our case to everyone. And again, just to remind, if I may, Dante's not the one-man show. I represent a pretty deep bench. Nikki sends his apologies, who's our COO. He's a 33-year-old fireball, but he has pneumonia. So he couldn't make it today. but there's just a lot of excitement behind this. We're just very excited about what this could be. And that kitchen, as you can see what Jack did, there's a breezeway. Can everybody see what I mean by that breezeway? There's that.
Where the door is.
Where that door is now, that door will
Break
remain.
between the two structures.
But currently, that shanty building, they just jammed it underneath.
Yes.
I don't, Jack, can we even see those yellow brackets currently?
No. I
No,
don't think we can.
they're between a low pitch flat roof, and they're outside. If you climb on top of the railing or a ladder and look over top of that, you can literally see right over top of it.
Whereas, in what we're proposing is creating a breezeway, keep the dignity of the building.
I wanted to get the building out from underneath of the roof.
It is jammed under there, Steve. They just jammed it under there. So by creating that breezeway, we need this building for us to prepare the foods properly. Keep in mind that we make a lot of our own things from scratch. We need prep area. We don't buy, thaw, and fry. So we need prep area. We partner with a lot of local vendors. It's something that we're proud of. I should take a moment to say some of the local vendors that we deal with, it's something that we break down our own needs. And we just need prep space for it. It's just inadequate was there now. So that's part of my ask, and we need help with that. We're gonna need help with this roof. We're gonna need help it's been a compromise at this point. I mean, it's been working, but it's not what it can be. So that's what we're putting forth to you all, in the hopes that everybody can appreciate what it can be.
So how deep does this go into the existing parking on the side? How many spots are
Jack,
there?
how many feet more would you say it is?
Well, the existing building is 19'6", 24, so it's about 20 feet,
20 additional feet.
yes.
Equates to, I think, 3 parking spaces.
Okay.
Think of it that way. There's a telephone pole that the restaurant was built around. There's a telephone pole that,
A telegraph pole?
perhaps,
Yes.
so that's being, with the help of Joe, we're hoping they're gonna relocate that pole. Otherwise, when you're sitting in a dining room, be careful, you could scratch your elbow on this. And again, there's also a power line there.
Yeah.
That they're gonna relocate that hopefully. We're meeting Thursday with the folks from BGE. We need the 3-phase, gotta have it, and of course relocate as well. So there's a very good depiction of what is there now in the dotted lines, and the other one depicts what we need.
Now, what that doesn't really account for is that the last people built an addition, which would be encompassing basically the back of the foundation, and then also before, I don't know if it was before them or not, there's that little water heater closet. Those two little structures separate the telegraph pole.
It is,
So they would be in that back space back here, but they just don't have foundations. So the difference is from the dotted line or the dashed line to this outside part right here. So it's about equal to the edge of the tree, I believe. And there's another pole that's really, the second pole is very close to that back corner.
Not right about the parking.
But
so
you-
when we take the addition to the building, it'll go roughly to where that pole is anyway.
So just the movement of one pole.
Correct. Correct. The power pole, that's not a function of changing the location of it, changing the amount of power.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
And there's 3 poles.
Yeah, what is that?
That is the dungeon that lives below the frame. 16-foot high ceilings, where they have dehumidifiers that remove the moisture and just dump it
Dump
back
it on
into
the floor.
When I saw that, I was like,
Yeah, I don't think
Circle of
that's
life.
the concept.
Perpetual motion machine.
Yes, exactly.
What's the flooring in that space?
Dirt
Dirt and wood debris,
and debris, so,
then the
Could make
boxes
that
from the
into a wine
dehumidifiers.
one thing at a time. I figured out
if
what,
you say that, then he's gonna try to put people in
Right.
there.
I didn't think this was the right time, it's definitely the right place,
Fire
the
truck
right,
can't do that.
but not the right time. There is, we have, where we're doing certain things in the kitchen, we're leaving a certain egress to potentially connect underneath with the blessing of everyone here.
Make it a speakeasy
not-
down there.
Right?
Pardon me?
A speakeasy down there.
No, sir. Now we're talking about phase two.
Magic door.
That's phase 12. Number before, give us a porch and build us a new air kitchen and we'll hit the ground running. Believe me, we're gonna hit this ground running.
I retire.
In the interior, we saw the freight room. Can you show us what the entrance would look like coming in and
Sure.
the wall space that you wanted?
You want a front elevation of this from,
Walking in the front door where the current bar exists,
very well?
the wall spacing and the, yeah.
Sure. And that is something, again, that in Eldersburg, so many guests have told me is such a choke point. It's also very cold,
Yes,
because that foyer
yes.
is silly.
Being generous.
It's silly. The other door is still open before the second one closes. It's silly.
You can't have more than 2 people, so if you have a party of 4, 2 people are out in the rain, while 2 people are
Well, also the
getting your name in.
Where,
door opens
what would you
out
like
to
me
the
to show on
steps.
that? I mean,
Well, no, Elizabeth wanted to see what it looks like as you're entering the front now.
Oh.
So
Or
what
what
the
your
wall would look
plan
like.
is, what that entrance would look like to,
Jack, correct me if actually, before you change that screen, hold that screen a second. We saw pictures, we've done some extensive research, and I do believe that little bump out porch is not original.
It's not.
It's not.
Do we know how old it is?
Jonathan Herman can tell you.
What we were thinking of there, talking about the airlock, simply creating that door, if you would, Jack. Can we zoom into the front underneath that porch? Create that, I wish I had a way of pointing, but create a door right where Jack is right there.
Yep, yep, yep.
And make that where you enter, so
Yeah.
4 people can get in before the other door closes.
Or at least it slows the
Sure.
non-tempered air.
And since that's not and again, age appropriate, period appropriate materials, period appropriate doors, something that looks of that era
But
would look
for
terrific.
me, I would love the opportunity to, if I could keep that structure and work inside,
Sure.
sort of.
Oh, absolutely.
Sort of build on top of it, so that it wouldn't be a jolt to the.
Yeah, no,
To the property, because even if it's not original, it's been there longer than
No, for
most
sure.
people.
it would be preferred, I'm sure.
It's loading, Jack?
I've gotta configure that. I didn't have that preset.
Right now, you open the door, everything is such a choke point. The restrooms are there, the bars are there, the hostess is there. It's too much of a,
Claustrophobic.
right.
and everyone complains it's cold and this and that. Doesn't
It
work.
doesn't mean we don't want to use that original room for a restaurant purpose, but
Sure.
if I can get, we need a liquor bar someplace larger and located someplace else, and perhaps a raw bar, smaller, it can take a smaller footprint and sort of eases people into the space and gives them more opportunities to go left, go right, you know.
What's everyone think of that idea of that bridge?
So I was waiting for you to bring it up because, I keep seeing squirrels, but I love the idea that it actually looks like a train trestle bridge. I love it a lot.
And that, Jack, if you can chime in what you just found out in recent research about that.
I was looking for it before when I hooked up my computer. Apparently, there was a train trestle bridge very similar to this that actually went over the river.
Yeah.
There was.
Yes.
Agnes swept it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's all the way up to the 70s now?
Yeah.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah.
How interesting.
I had a picture earlier. I just can't remember where I found it.
And that bridge,
It looks just like that.
that bridge actually is structural, well, not the bridge, but that structure is what's gonna be holding up that brick wall.
Copy.
And you'll still see brick. It's not as if we're removing, when we lower that
This
floor,
wall
the
is
frame
plaster
room-
now.
I beg your
This
pardon?
wall on this side is plaster.
Jack is correct. From the perspective of the current bar, it's plaster. On the other side, it's brick.
That's right.
Are you
So-
going to
The-
remove the plaster and
Well,
expose the
okay.
brick on this side?
Not to show division within our ranks.
Yeah.
Joseph, that's enough from you.
This is where I'm like, no, you can't do that, and I'm also
And
putting
that's good.
myself
We need someone like
in the
that.
heads of the people on historic committees and, historic trusts. It's like, yeah, you've got a current interior space of that front rating room, entry room, the moldings, the paneling, the windows, it's like, it's kind of a complete space. So ripping out too much is not going to flock well. It'd be a tougher sell.
And you're talking about where the current bar is now? Okay.
So in my head, I would like to see, yes, the larger openings, but trimmed out more appropriately on that side. And then when you get into the freight room, then you've got the opportunity for something a little more exposed steel.
And this is the
exposed
freight room side?
What you're looking at now is the existing bar side. That's actually the existing bar geometry. It's just in there for
You're looking at it
sake
from
of
the front door,
spatial
Elizabeth.
relationships.
Okay.
But I sort of nodded to both of them in this case. I left the plaster on, but I put the girder in for Dante.
And so,
Oh, thank you, thank you.
and
It's
so,
perspective, the girder piece is perspective at this point anyway, but
So
that's,
you're looking at everyone's looking at two openings on either side of some configuration.
Currently, on the left-hand side as you come in, is where the existing opening is.
Correct.
The idea is to make that larger. There's a chimney in the center.
A simpler version
Okay.
of the opening.
Up to that. And then a
Joe
parallel
sketched these.
Opening on the other
Big-
side.
And then just this afternoon before,
If we
I felt the need to
there's just something,
get
a
something
simpler
quick on
version.
paper.
This in the middle
this is
represents
this
it.
same opening.
Right, this
Right,
represents
so
her.
the idea is
The
that,
chimney,
It's like this. It's like this.
Yeah,
but now when you walk into the place,
and one side's the freight room and one side's the
Right,
open bar
this
area.
is where the bar is now, and it's more finished. It's more of a finished look, where the bar is
which is
now.
what there is
Right.
now.
So you
Which is
Versus,
what I ceiling, high windows, but, you know, it's glass.
So you would remove the bar.
the bar is gonna be
Right.
reconfigured in some way to make it more,
Smaller.
Right, and that's where it possibly would be the raw bar, which can be smaller footprint, which people could sit at. That also is a pickup station for service throughout the rest of the restaurant.
And then you gain more entry space in the.
absolutely, so that's no longer a choke.
Post, holding, toilet, all of that stuff.
But do we
And-
still have those two doors? You walk up the stairs into a door and then you turn right into a door?
Yeah, that has to be respected, that's part of the original.
That's original, of course.
fabric of the building.
That stays.
As it is right now, when you come right in, that, one of the bars like, right, almost
Oh, yeah.
cut. I was like, get that back, but then also on that side, front side of the building, create that opening that I can get into the freight room directly. So that I'm cutting down the traffic that's gonna be, right now, all traffic to get into the freight room has to go to that choke point, front of the bar, toilet, post, then turn, go through a 3-foot opening up 2 steps. So we can get that sort of cleaned up and opened. Traffic flows.
And then this other picture is moving the bar into the freight room side.
Well, this is more of the existing bar, but a smaller version for the
So
raw
these
bar.
are the same space.
You're gonna put the papers back to back, in essence.
Thank you. Okay.
So when you come into the
So
building,
this is from one perspective, and I'm.
So this is the
taking
entrance
papers,
now.
this is the
right now you
papers.
got yeah, you've got that
Alright,
smaller
back to
opening
back.
on
Yep,
this
this
side.
is the freight room.
So
And
this is
is
the
main
entrance
bar.
and this is the freight room.
Correct.
Got it.
But there, we've got the
Now I'm
exposed
getting
brick structure up there, so it doesn't make sense, in my mind, to bring in the molding details that you see, the inside.
Got
So
it.
I think in the last discussion that I remember, the whole wall was removed with just sort of like a header coming down. And so this flow will still work? It was discussed, there
Yeah,
was
there's
no
an issue-
visual
there's a
that
big
we saw.
In that wall,
There's a chimney.
the chimney's in there, yes.
and it projects into both
So
spaces.
unquestionably, we're leaving that.
You're gonna need to have something,
And you
okay,
want
I
that,
got it.
Right.
from wide open, there isn't too much anyway, so that chimney's perfect,
okay.
perfect.
And
Beautiful, it's
and
great.
this is probably it,
And
right?
it isn't.
So when
Yeah.
you're currently
Can I
entering
get a
the
view of
building,
that from another side,
there's a
please?
toilet.
The other side, the chimney's pretty
So
clear.
right now, that's as the opening we have, get you outside.
There you go.
Right.
So our chimney straddles that wall between waiting and freight room.
Got it.
Get like a good 7-foot opening, 7-foot opening,
So
a
Jim, I think-
symmetry that is
Yep.
part of the Victorian
Yeah,
attitude.
yeah,
Get
Joe,
you in.
Joe nailed it, you spoke to him. And there's the same
Is
view.
the chimney original? Is it? Oh,
Oh, yeah. And what
The
they've currently
chimneys were
done,
made to
they've
look like
added
smokestacks on a
Yeah.
particular train.
awkwardly. So
and that's
we're all-
why I
Noticed
didn't
that?
think it was original, but it
No,
is.
it's the original chimney, ductwork tacked onto it, then shrouded in
Yeah.
sheet rock.
My 10-cent tour offers that information about the chimney.
Bravo,
You're welcome.
bravo.
Thank you.
Other questions?
What's the next step?
Actually, I'd like to ask you what's the next step. This is what we are proposing, this is what we need. Candy, this is what we
This
need.
is our The big ask.
Is this all at once?
How do you mean?
Is this phase one?
I mean, it's just,
No,
it's-
this, great question. This would be all in the same phase.
so it's all, no state, no
We are
separate,
prepared to.
100%.
With collaborating, we wanna do it now. We don't wanna do the deck later. We have to have a
No, it
joint.
doesn't, it
It's gotta be
doesn't,
now. We
one,
can do
one
kitchen
is
now.
so tied into the other that's almost like.
Yeah, that's why I was at, because we've been
Well,
talking
The
staging
only thing I
before.
could see being later would be any kind of vestibule at the current covered entry.
If I
Because
may,
that can be done at any point in time, it does not affect anything with kitchens, toilets, decks, lowering floors, opening of walls.
and the reason, Elizabeth, correct me if I'm wrong, because when we met initially, we talked about, let's do this first.
Yes,
Right.
yeah, that's why I'm asking.
But it really doesn't make sense, folks. We need a bigger kitchen. The bigger kitchen, I need to drop at a certain level.
Yeah,
Can you drop a certain level till I drop the other floor?
Yeah.
Then we have the same plastic deck. No, we're prepared to make the investment with your help to make it look like this day one.
So
That's pretty
Like-
awesome.
Go ahead.
currently, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Currently, in the front rooms, there are two bathroom facilities. When you walk in, and one's back to the bar,
Correct.
and then you walk into the second room. I know initially you had mentioned that you want to take out one of those and make one an ADA.
I suggested just keep them as they are, they work, create the proper additional toilets. you know, that are-
And the original.
yeah.
So it keeps that much
So you
more
have-
of it.
Four public facilities.
Which
Four
also,
plus staff.
I haven't done,
Right.
I haven't done the full number counting, but we're most likely gonna be able to increase seat count when we clean up the exterior deck work, so we're not losing so much, where it got ramps and bars and things like that. That could be seats, so we're gonna be bringing up the population, so we're also. What I also enjoyed about that front waiting room, if you will, having its own toilet, if they want to be able to market that as private parties, things like that, those folks have their own facility and don't have to traipse through the rest of the restaurant.
I have one, I'm sorry, Leo, go
Go ahead,
ahead.
because I want to be wrapping up.
Okay, cool. So, the,
No, it's just-
the dimensions of the platform itself, those are, that's sitting on a foundation? The platform is sitting on a foundation?
I mean, the existing deck, outside
Yeah.
that,
It's not, it's built like a deck.
So,
Here's,
it's sitting on piers. Okay, so are you planning on, and do you have room to expand the size of that in, as far as from the rail side of the brick side of the building towards the railroad? Is there room to increase that, or plans to increase that, or it's
not,
gonna be the
not
same
greatly,
footprint?
because you get.
Yeah, I
turns
can't
out
picture how
pretty
much, I
easy.
can't picture how much
I think I'm
space
gonna
is there.
address that with the idea, is that basically the area that is a deck that would become enclosed is gonna more or less be treated like a deck, but it's gonna be a structural insulated panel, which is a sandwich of plywood, foam, EPS foam, and then plywood. It's very energy efficient. I've already interfaced with some SIPs manufacturers. We would waterproof it, and basically we'd be building a SIPs deck on piers set at 4-foot intervals, so we can have commercial load carrying of the floor. And then the foundation, where there is more or less foundation on the end, on the addition, that'll get new foundation.
Okay,
I'm not totally sold on that yet, but that's my best thought for rather than disturbing the area and putting in stem walls and a floor and everything there. I think that's the better way to do it.
okay, thank you.
Liz, can I ask one quick question if you're gonna wrap up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so then we're removing, right now that outside space has entrance to a bathroom. The way you're reconfiguring them, you would need to come into the building to get to the additional bathrooms, right? We would remove that outside door.
no,
Yes, no,
Yes, no.
because you're gonna be going outside of the original footprint of the building, but currently that's an unheated, if you will, unconditioned.
Yeah, no, I'm
space.
fine, I'm just wondering, I just wanna make sure that I'm reading it right, that you would have to come off of that deck space into the freight room to get into the bathrooms now, right? We would,
I don't think that's the case, is it, Jack?
because there's a door to the bathrooms out
From that deck
on the
area.
deck right now.
Yeah, but that entire area will be enclosed conditioned space. So are you referring to
I'm
standing
just
out?
asking the door of the bathroom from the deck.
The current ADA, the only current ADA bathroom off the deck, you cannot access it from inside the building per se, as it is now, although your new addition will be part of the inside of the building, because it'll all be enclosed and
Yeah,
conditioned.
you would exit, there's a door in this area. You would exit that door and then you'd walk down here to come into this little vestibule area and go to the bathrooms.
Now, there,
So the bathrooms are accessible from the outside, not from the inside frame?
It becomes inside.
now,
I understand, I'm just asking where the door is.
I also want
The
to put.
door's right here.
I want to put an asterisk next to that.
Right here.
Okay.
Once we further develop plans, because I'm like you, I would love that opportunity, if maybe one of those two, can I get there from inside the frame?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more of a study of how does this new kitchen connecting
Okay.
space work? Because I don't want to create a situation where there's dish and food traffic in public.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure, I couldn't tell where the doors to get
Right.
into
So you
the,
can get
this
to it
way.
from the deck.
so both new restrooms are coming in from the deck area.
Correct.
Got
And
it,
you don't have to go back inside the main room, use the restroom, and come right off the deck.
got it, okay.
That's a good perspective there, Jack.
Yeah.
There we go, okay,
Yep,
thank you.
yep,
Got
There
it.
you go.
But hopefully, the idea that we're creating a more better conditioned space,
Right.
it will feel like you're leaving the building to go use it.
Right, well, each room then almost has access to
Right.
a restroom. Mhm.
You're keeping that door in the freight room to go out to currently the deck, that,
Yeah.
right there, you're
Yes.
keeping that.
Well, that's
It'll
where
be
we're
a
dropping.
different
door.
Right, that
But because
passageway will be
it's,
there.
but because it's now conditioned, there's no real reason.
To
You
have
can
a
just
door.
have it open.
It could be a
Put it open.
hallway,
It could.
it could be just a permanent
It
opening.
can be a permanent opening.
That'd be nice.
That would help with space.
Well, what happens is, everything is created into little boxes now. And the experience is not there because you have little compartments.
And that's fine if it's a 25-seat little tea room for lunch, but when you're trying to get
Yeah.
quantity of people,
Mhm.
something has to give.
So, Leo, I think you said a few minutes ago, what's next?
Yeah, Joe, our staff report says that we're just looking for council support before Stazione proceeds with making the application to the Maryland Historic Trust and Sykesville Historic District Commission, right?
That's right. And so again, the idea here is we didn't want to proceed to the state level without knowing that the council was going to be behind what was going to be proposed.
Okay, so I think it's fair to say the council is behind
Yes,
this project?
Yes.
yes.
Yep.
Do we need to have a vote?
You don't.
No.
Now, I have a question, so then did we then go to the simultaneously? I know it was probably asked earlier, but I'm still trying to get.
Well, goes the team, right?
It'll be a parallel situation, I think, for certain sections, certain portions of the approval process. But certainly, the HDC will have had a chance to have a similar presentation so that they can support your requests to MHT.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought you were.
Yeah.
That seemed to be what I remembered.
Yeah.
Procedures. Okay, cool.
And the HDC isn't going to be as particular about the interior as they will about the exterior.
That's what we hope.
Yeah, but the
But
MHT will be.
They
both.
will, you're still gonna want,
Yes.
you're gonna want the HDC as an entity
No question.
to buy into even what's inside, even though it's not their purview, right? And it's not their purview because it is MHT's purview. So there's no redundancy, but it would be beneficial for them to be as thrilled as I am. I won't speak for everyone at the table, but he seems to
We're
be
looking
pretty.
for you folks to advocate
Yeah, exactly.
together.
Yes.
This is not,
Yes.
this is the town money.
I'll be writing a letter as well to the MHT by the time this is ready to go.
That'd be terrific, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure the whole council will be signing it.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So I'll be writing a letter on behalf of the council that we'll all sign.
Great presentation. Thanks a
Thank
lot,
you.
guys. Really.
Excellent.
I think you covered every aspect that we had questions about, so it's greatly appreciated.
Absolutely love it.
I think you're bringing hope to the community. That's how far I would go.
No joke.
Not for nothing, I'm starving right now.
I think it's gonna be a scenario of just high tide raises all boats. I think it's just gonna be good for everyone.
Agreed.
Bring people in.
Salute, by the way, to that. Yes, this is water. Don't
I
anything
speak to my
get
friend Fran here who lives in Sykesville, further south. We're looking to get, and if you don't mind me sharing, a member at some of the golf courses, as I am in Turk Valley, let's bring them here. Let's bring them here. It just, that's a good thing.
Love it. Thank you so much.
And if I can just tie into one thing for the general public, with regard to outstanding gift cards that were with Sykesville Station, Liberatory's Restaurant in Eldersburg will be redeeming those through March 15th of 2024. Gift cards can only be redeemed during one single visit. The entire balance of the gift card must be redeemed at that time, and no further balance will carry forward, and they have no cash value.
I think that's pretty
We made
classy
good
too.
one, in other words.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
Thank you.
And no, I don't take all the credit. It was collaborative to the previous, and he's been reasonable.
that's classy,
Very
thank
good.
you.
Yep.
Great. Okay, well, you guys can stick around for the rest of our meeting, or you can cut yourselves loose. Good deal.
Can't go to the other place, it's too cold.
Rub it in, rub it in. All right, so we'll move on to, these are ours, I think. Are we keeping these sketches?
You most certainly may.
Thank you.
Certainly may.
Thank you.
So our next,
Good evening, everyone.
thank you, Don, you too, same to you.
Jeff, let me help you.
Nice seeing you, friend.
Yeah, come on up to Warfield.
Oh, it's coming, I'm coming.
Since I've been through this process
Yes, sir.
painfully, it's,
And you're about to do some improvements to your building
well,
as well.
we did the outside, just, I don't know, I own the Warfield, the Nexion building in Warfield. So we did the outside railings, stripped them back down to, and painted them, and fixed some of the roofing.
Thank you.
Got some window issues to deal with now.
All right. So we'll move on to our next item on the agenda. It says, second item of new business, and it is to consider, discuss, act on Millard Cooper Park pedestrian bridge rehabilitation contract. And this item, a quick summary, contract approval for the Millard Cooper Park pedestrian bridge rehabilitation project is a result of an RFP that was created and put out. And I'm gonna let Joe talk about the details because we found some math. Some math error, an error in math. Slightly. Go ahead, thank you. Yes, I was gonna wait for them to, but I think it's quite enough. Thank you.
So yeah, so again, this project was conceived when we received the program open space grant. Again, there was two components to that grant. One was the trail work between, Norris and Oklahoma Avenue. Again, that work was done a couple months ago. The other aspect was to rehabilitate the pedestrian bridges on the trail that a lot of people probably don't know about there through Millard Cooper Park. So again, there's 3 bridges back there. All of them are in different phases of deterioration, or at least the decking is. So again, the idea behind this project is to get all of those redecked, the railings redone, and at least one of the abutments on one of the bridges repaired as well. So again, we did release the RFP. Typically, we like to obviously get more than one bid anytime we release an RFP. Unfortunately, in this particular case, that is all we received. It was a lot higher than what our engineering estimates were. I believe the engineering estimates were a little low, but certainly not what we expected to get from this particular project. That being said, the program open space grant was around $150,000. There is a little over $100,000 left based on what we've already spent for the trail work and some of the engineering here. So right now our capital budget can support this particular project. And without a budget revision or any issues like that, assuming that some of our other projects still remain kind of where we expect them to be. So we are recommending approval for tonight. There was one error with the total amount. It says $126,000, $123.40. It's actually $126,152. So it was off by like $28.60 there. So again, that was just a minor rounding error there. But again, like I said, it is a little bit more expensive than we expected it to be for the area and what work we're actually proposing. Again, we're only talking about resurfacing these bridges, not taking them all the way down and rebuilding them. So the little over $125,000 was not necessarily what we expected, but again, like I said, it's relatively close to what we have left in the grant for this particular project. So we are still recommending approval for tonight. So again, that is the recommended motions to approve the proposal from Kibler Construction Company in the amount of $126, and it's $152 instead of $123.
No change, just 156?
152.
126,
126, 152.
No change.
Got it, right.
Are there any questions for staff?
There wasn't the actual bid attached?
Yes, sorry,
Okay.
sorry, table's big.
I'd like to see something that would be more sustainable. I'm assuming that they're using pressure-treated lumber?
It was, it's like material that's out there now.
Yeah.
And again, that is an option too. We can always punt this project or reconfigure the bid and re-release it, hoping to get a little more interest.
What were you expecting? I can't remember what the engineering estimate was.
We were anticipating somewhere in probably 60 to 70 range. So it's significantly over what we expected.
Was the material cost more expensive, or was it the labor cost, or just
Everything was higher
Just
than what
high.
we anticipated. The one abutment repair, I want to say, came in between $10,000 and $15,000 over what we expected, and then the materials and labor for the actual just resheathing was, well, that was pretty significantly over, another $30,000 over what we expected it to be.
Now, was this originally an Eagle Scout project?
That's what I've heard, is that those
Okay.
bridges were installed. We don't exactly know when. We want to say basically a decade ago, if not more.
It's been longer than a decade.
You can see if you've been through the trail, you can tell those bridges have been there a while.
Yeah, so I would say, actually, I think a lot of kids in the area know that that's there. I know some very particular children who are very familiar with those bridges and would like to see them repaired.
Yeah.
But I've also heard from those children a desire to actually get the paths redone as well. So when we look at this and getting the wooden bridges back, there's a lot of overgrowth that has occurred, and there hasn't been due diligence of kind of keeping the paths in there cleaned. And there's actually one path that is totally overgrown now, that comes up closer to the top of the hill. So just a request, I love the idea of it being more sustainable. I think it is used by the kids a lot more than we might be aware of as adults not going back there. And if those paths were better maintained, I think we could have a lot more use even of dog walkers and just when you go in there, like all of a sudden you're in the middle of the woods.
Right.
So-
Again, I think the idea here is you get the bridges repaired so that they're safe, and then we can make sure that the trail is rebuilt the way it needs to be built. Again, it's all natural surface back there. There's no paving or anything.
Correct.
It's just the bridges.
Are the bridges over like a little ravine?
There's one that's over,
It's like swamp.
let's just call it a wet weather conveyance. It's not
Okay.
really an active stream, like maybe when it rains, there's water there, but outside of that, it's usually pretty dry. And some of the others are, they're not elevated a significant amount. Like I want to say, not all of them have, would even require like the standard railing. Like we might almost be able to redesign some of those bridges where you almost have like I think they call it basically just a bridge gutter on there or a curb on there instead of an actual railing.
And you would have to have a bridge there? I mean, do you have to
Yeah,
have?
they're like
it?
wetlands
Yeah.
and muddy
Okay.
Yeah,
and
it's still marshy. It's just not, you're not going to be able to traverse it easily without
Okay.
a bridge.
and I wouldn't be. I think over the years, people have been mountain biking back in that area too. So we'd want stuff that's substantial to hold the weight or the use.
Joe, are each of the three bridges sitting atop these abutments? Are they
Not all of them.
not all of them? So some of them are sitting directly in contact with the ground.
With the banks. They're
Yeah.
they're long enough and their span's long enough that
Yeah.
there's nothing actually built into the hillside.
Okay.
So I have a question. I'm not against this or by any means, but my question is, if you said, I'm gonna go out and buy a loaf of bread and it's gonna be $5, and you come back and say, well, it's actually 15, that alarms me that either bread has gone crazy or you don't know how much a loaf of bread is now.
Right.
And my question is, why the discrepancy? If you say, well, supply chain issues and inflation and, COVID-35 and, because I said so, those are answers, but what is the real answer? I mean, if you just said 100 and it came in at 105, I'd have gone, got it. When you said 60 to 70 and you come in at 120, I'm gonna go, well, wait a minute. That's not margin of error. That's not a rounding error. That's somebody made a mistake. And if it was us, will we correct it? And if it's them, why are we putting up with it?
Well, and again, we release the bid hoping to get several.
Right.
So, and typically what ends up happening in these types of, well, really any project that we have, I can use a paving project as an example, is typically you have a few that are competing for the low bid, and then you have one or two that are really high. Well, and this just happens to be one of those situations where because we only got one bid, we only got one of those high ones.
And my question is, and this is something that I don't know about, so I'm just asking you, is it worth going out again? That you come in and go, well, you know, they were all busy with, and now they'll say, oh, I'll do it for 80. Or are you gonna get 3 more estimates at 130?
Timing could always be an issue as well. I mean, you don't really know. We wanted to do this work in the winter time just because not a lot of people are using the park. We wanted to make sure we could get somebody in there and get it completed. Punting on this particular bid and just re-advertising it, maybe tweaking a few of the specifications may help. We may get one bid back and it may be
What I'm getting at is when all you town managers get together and do your secret handshake.
There's no.
And I don't want them to say,
there's no
did you hear
secret
about
handshake."
Joe? He actually paid 120. What were you thinking? I could have got it done for 80. Or you're all in this group and they all go, Joe got it for 126. That's not bad. See what I'm getting at? I'm trying to gauge why we were so far off.
Yeah. Well, and again, I don't think there is a good answer to that.
Okay,
question.
all right. No,
Yeah,
I accept that.
I mean, I could say, well, I don't want to say it like that because, you know, I believe the contractor put together a bid that he was comfortable doing this project at. And it just so happens he's the only one that bid on it.
Can I make a recommendation that for due diligence and being stewards of the town's money, that we put this back out for another bid just to see what happens?
I like it.
Could I,
It can't, I don't think it can get worse, it could get better.
and maybe do it in the spring or something, just to give a little bit of time.
Sure.
I like
So
that.
what happens if it comes back higher?
Then it,
Then
Like
come-
Mark-
then it comes back a little bit
But
higher.
we've at least made the effort to try to,
Well, I
Plus,
guess,
we know that our estimates, by necessity, are gonna have to be higher because something has fundamentally changed. You know, if everything's risen, then I accept that. But it's just funny where you're usually very close to accurate on this, and that's why, you know, I was surprised that Joe was off by so much, and I'm wondering if that's wrong.
well, I guess, but if we're gonna rebid it, the sustainability, like what are you thinking Trex versus pre-treated wood? Or like, is there something we'd like to see different?
I actually would like to see the indestructible, recyclable, like recycled, must I say it, plastic water bottle caps. Like, that's what the bench in Millard Cooper Park, the rainbow one that was made and dedicated last year by the Brownies and the Girl Scout troop. It's actually a Girl Scout troop, not Brownies, but they were there with us. They're indestructible, and it's, you know, upcycling, and
That's gonna cost more money though.
it is.
of course.
That's
So-
absolutely right. But the thing about
Or
that
maybe it
kind of-
costs exactly this much.
pressure treated material out in the open like that, it gets slimy and slippery, and it doesn't get pressure washed and it doesn't get sealed. So it's gonna need this same $125,000 work
In 10 years.
in 10 or 12, 15 years. So anyway, I agree that I'd like to see something other than pressure treated lumber, and I'd like to put it out to bid again too.
So before we make that motion, I got a couple questions. Joe, have we used the Keebler Construction Company before? Have they done any projects for us
I don't know if they've done work specifically for the town. They've done work for other towns in Carroll County.
in Carroll County? So they have a pretty good reputation?
Yes.
Okay. And are the bridges in a state that are currently unsafe? Could somebody get, so would we have to close the trail down for this?
The bridges are technically closed,
Okay.
but you can still,
What is,
resourceful
They're in the middle
children
of
can
the
get
woods.
back
There's
there.
only so much we can do to keep people off of them.
Okay.
But
They've not been safe for a while.
They're already closed though, right?
They are,
As a-
technically they are
They're
closed.
de jure closed, whether they're
there's
infection.
caution tape.
There's tape on them.
And every 12-year-old boy knows
Right.
never to cross the
Right.
caution tape.
And I'm sure they're not used at all.
Absolutely, it says caution.
Right. Use caution.
You can tell they're supposed to be
For that
closed.
matter, they can be recycled aluminum for bridges. But anyway, okay. So that's the motion. Do we have a second?
Wait, what's,
I have,
Oh,
go, I'm
so
sorry,
sorry.
keep on.
what was your
Sorry?
motion? Did you make a
My
motion?
motion was to put this out for bid, and the motion was amended, put this out for rebid, and the motion was amended to add the request for,
Recyclable
materials to be included in the bid request, in the RFP.
For the
In the springtime.
materials
And then
in the
Give it a
spring.
little bit of time.
So until we have a second, we can't debate it, unless people have
I'll second
questions for, okay, so we have a second. So, the motion, is made by, Council Member Keenan and seconded by Council President Carter. Do we have, we
Well,
want to
there
talk
was
more about
discussion.
this?
Yeah, I have, so can we get two prices on that? Like, can we say, hey, we want it
We'd love
done
to get
as,
2 or 3.
well, can we put it out and say, look, we'd like to know how much it would cost to do it with recycled material and how much it would cost to do it with
Sure.
We
pressure
can,
treated?
yes, yeah, we can
I like that.
we can formulate the bid to say, you know, we want the project to be replacement in kind, and then as a bid alternate, it's, you know, this recycled material.
Okay.
Just so we can understand
Great.
what the difference is.
I like
Do
it.
we need to amend the motion to do that? Okay.
Can
That's a
I
great idea.
discuss something else?
Yes,
Because the South Linear Trail has that aluminum bridge.
yes.
Aluminum is state. is it
One and
just
done.
Yeah, it's something that has been able to withstand the water and the traffic and stuff. I don't know if that's even an alternative, that maybe we can put that in there as well.
Okay.
I'll let you word it the way that you would like.
You
We
mean
will
the bridge
investigate
down
all
by,
options for-
drop down the hill and sort of in the back that goes over by
Yep.
the, like, whatever building that is?
The, water,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know, pump station, is that what it is? Yeah. Yeah, that's,
These are flat, they don't have a little bit of an arc to them.
that does, well,
No, the ones that are
The
out
ones that are
here,
flat.
Cooper.
Yes, they're all flat.
I say we look into the ramping material, like the ADA ramping material, like let everything run through it, and it's one and done too. But we'll talk more about that. Okay, great. So all in favor of the motion to set it out to RFP again?
One more time.
Oh.
Just, how long do you think it would take to get this out to RFP and get the bids back, Joe? What does it usually take, time frame?
You know, typically you want 30 days.
Okay.
That's just a good rule of thumb. We've done them shorter, but it's usually a project that people already know about. So
Yep.
with this, we'd probably want to advertise it for 30 days.
What are you
Okay.
thinking? You want to do, not wait till spring?
No, well, I was just wondering what, like, we're basically asking to delay this project. I just want to know
Yeah.
approximately how much.
And actually, that's a good point, because this is something I wanted to ask earlier. Does Project Open Space have a deadline for expenditure?
There is, it's a 2-year time frame, and I think we're up next fiscal year. So as long as it's spent before then, we should be okay.
Okay, before the end of next fiscal year,
Not before before the end of current fiscal
before the
year.
end of current
July.
fiscal
We
year.
would want this done.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, then
But
hold
yeah.
back, then I don't
There's still
care
time.
when we get it out
Yeah.
there.
maybe we can wait until the beginning of the year, like
Yeah, we are
mid-January.
heading
We'll do the holidays.
Holiday season.
Yeah.
And then do it. Yeah.
Perfect.
Get it.
okay.
Timing wise, though,
Take
just
care.
from a Parks and Rec perspective,
We'd like it
sooner,
done before.
the Easter egg hunt, please, thank you.
There you go.
Okay, so the motion, the motion that has
Very
been made
specific window.
and seconded is that this project be suspended temporarily until it can be put out to bid again, with the consideration of materials as an alternate bid to the original RFP, as well as with the understanding that it needs to be, the funding, it will expire at the end of this fiscal year. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you.
Get that, Karen.
Okay, we have announcements and reports. The next meeting is Monday, December 11th, 2023. We have volunteer opportunities available on the Historic District Commission, Parks and Recreation Commission, Board of Zoning Appeals, and the Police Auxiliary. Please email the town@sykesville.net for more information about volunteering with the town. That brings us to staff updates. Joe, I'll let you start, please.
Only a real quick one regarding Springfield Avenue. I know the last time we talked, we were still waiting on a timeline from State Highways as to when that contract was going to get started. We did receive word that they wanted to get started either, I can't remember if it was, couldn't have been last week because that was Thanksgiving week, but they would have been into potential work this coming week, and it would have required them to close down Springfield Avenue or at least part of that intersection of Spout Hill Road and Main Street. So rather than doing that, State Highways reached out to us asking if we would prefer if they delayed that until after the holidays. The answer was in the affirmative, so that project likely will not kick off now until January as well. So
Great.
there's lots of things starting to stack up
Yep.
for, well, there's gonna be a lot of work going on in January.
Yes. But it'll be better that way,
Yes,
even though there'll be a lot going on at one time.
it'll be absolutely better for the merchants this way.
Yeah.
And no concerns with like winter for that, like,
Not necessarily with stormwater work, just because it's, I know there's water in the name of it, but to me, it's somewhat of a dry utility, that as long as the weather outside while they're working is okay, you can still install this material. It's not like water in sewer, so there's not like constant flow.
Great. Okay, our next step update is our public safety report, and we have a fill-in this evening for Chief Spalding. That would be the one and only Sergeant Kilgore, no longer.
I caught you there.
No, I want everybody to
LT.
know, LT, yes,
How are you?
excellent. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna cover the public safety report from November 7th through November the 20th. And in that time frame, we handled 391 events, and some of those highlights are 9 assist other agencies, 5 community policings, 11 follow-up investigations, 16 foot patrols. We had 4 property damage accidents, 187 patrol checks, 3 town ordinance violations, 21 traffic enforcement initiatives, 3 welfare checks, and I think that does it. Of those total incidents, we handled 12 reports. I didn't get any emails about questions, so if you guys have questions about that, I'll be more than happy to expound
I just
upon it.
have one. 264, where we assisted Kansas City.
Yes,
Did we go to Kansas City? Okay.
we did not.
It's in the address is on there, it's Kansas City, so I just,
That was a phone call.
okay.
I don't know what the details of that is, but I can tell everybody's accounted for and not in Kansas City. I'll see if I can try to, actually, I don't. All I have is what's in front of me. It's just.
No, that's fine, I just wasn't sure
Yeah.
with the address there, I wasn't sure what was going on.
I would assume Kansas City called us, they asked us to do something, and
I feel like it was part of his report,
Oh,
Yeah,
last
it
time?
was somewhere.
Sergeant Lacey's report.
Okay,
I feel like it was either fraud or some sort of
Yeah,
investigation.
they were sending, somebody from Kansas City called and said they had somebody sending.
oh, that was the address,
Something ordered
okay,
from Etsy to
Yep.
somewhere on Gaither Road.
yep,
Yeah,
okay, thank
Ended
you.
up over in Germany or
Yes.
somewhere like
Yeah.
that.
okay.
The whole catalytic converter thing, and I know there's nothing you guys can do, absolutely,
Mm.
but it's becoming chronic. And do you have any ideas for us? Because I know if there was a magic solution, you would have already pointed the wand and
to keep us
fired.
from getting hit.
I don't think there is, but I was
Around
hoping
for
you
20
might surprise
seconds
us.
and gone. I will tell you that Sergeant Lacey requested that I put in a work ticket through our traffic ticket system. It's called Delta Plus. Because I'm the administrator, I'm the only one who can do that. And we have a suspect vehicle, and it's got a headlight out. And he wants to know of all the white, whatever kind of car this is, that has gotten a repair order in the last 90 days in X amount of counties. And simply write that email, and then they compile that information, and they'll send it back. So he is a dog with a bone, and he won't quit until he either finds him or doesn't. Does that make sense? So we're still working it. When I say we, he is still working at it. And we will continue, and he will continue to do that until it is a definitive yes or no. So there are still options there. Working in conjunction, of course, with Howard County and Baltimore County PD and folks down south, PG and stuff like that. So
My question is very simple.
is there a preventative measure somewhere? And if there is, I don't know.
I didn't think there was. My second question is in this, are we abnormally active, or is this literally a chronic thing everywhere, and every other jurisdiction of our size has it too?
Everybody.
We've been lucky.
Thank you.
I know that my previous employment, it was very prevalent in Howard County, and you would
It
hardly
is-
hear it. Now it's starting to migrate this
Probably
way.
just our term.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought about that a lot in years past about theft from autos, because they were very transient and they stay away and then they're here. Now, they're here a lot now, it seems, but in years past, it would be a couple and then we wouldn't have that problem for a while, so. But it is prevalent everywhere.
So one of the things that I heard, is it Sergeant Lacy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Sergeant Lacy say before, is that there's some sort of a license plate check down in Baltimore.
Yes.
And they were able to pick up something of a vehicle that maybe was a suspect vehicle or however they did that.
There are tag readers everywhere, and
Okay,
that's what he's picking up on.
and so do we have tag readers in our town that we can, so someone drives into, the idea of it is
Well-
someone drives into the town that
I
there's
don't
a
wanna say because, are we on TV?
Yes.
I don't wanna say, but,
Yeah, sure, ask them something.
Yeah, okay.
but like, coming in and out of the county, I thought the sheriff was talking about putting one.
Yeah.
The bridge at 140 going into Baltimore County, there's a tag reader there, 70. So, they're here, I just don't know like how, what kind of proximity they are to us. But it's probably not a bad idea,
Yeah,
if you're asking my opinion.
where I was going with it is that, is it something that you could put on both ends of Main Street essentially? So top of Springfield and then to the end of Main Street.
You
And all it does
absolutely
is it sort of alerts us to whenever there's a possible suspect thing going on.
So we would have to make a check for that. And I
You
don't
have to
want
make a check. You can't, it doesn't just automatically.
So the ones that are in use now that he is calling upon MCAC to search are ones that are pre-existing.
Okay.
So you ask them to give me all the tag hits for this tag and,
Yeah.
location and such. I assume that if we own tag readers, then we could look at them at our convenience.
And where I was headed with the part of it was stolen vehicles, if a stolen vehicle comes into town. Since it seems like that's an ongoing
Yes, now,
issue.
the one thing I will say, I think that there is discussion with the sheriff's department about getting us license plate readers that'll go into our car,
Okay.
and that would be pretty awesome.
That'd be really great.
With a license plate reader, they don't, if it reads a tag and a tag has been suspect, does it send an alert or do
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to go and dig for that?
No, it'll make all kinds of crazy noises, and if you are in a car that has a tag reader, it's like blurping every 5 seconds, it seems like. Suspended drivers, suspended tags, no insurance, pickup orders, wanted drivers, the owner's got a warrant, the car's stolen, all kinds of things like that. And I think if I had one of those in my prime, Jack, whew, my goodness. But it is a great tool, and again, I think there's discussion about us getting 2 of them, so that would be pretty good.
In the vehicles, if we had it as Councilman Schofield had mentioned, and they'd be stationary, how would you get notification?
You'd have to dig for it, but in the car, it's real time.
Okay.
So think about driving through Sykesville Apartments at 3 o'clock in the morning and passing all kinds of parked cars, and the tag reader's picking up. That car's reported stolen in Baltimore City or PG County or DC or whatever. We'll get that alert right away.
Wow.
So, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. I was just wondering if this cat made it back to where it had been caught and or not, but
That was,
I'm quite sure you don't. I just the actual incident notes kind of don't make sense to me. But I suppose I could have sent an email and requested you to ask.
So the cat was brought back and let go because
Yeah.
it is,
Excellent.
yeah,
That's all I wanted to know.
there you go.
Thank you, sir. Anything else from anyone?
So, sorry I had to step out, I don't know if it was mentioned, but thank you for the, car locks.
Yeah.
Were they all picked up? Have they all
Love
been?
to take credit for that again, but Sergeant Lacy. I'm
They all been
in
picked
my
up.
office doing nothing.
That's what I'm told.
It's called management.
There you go. I
Do you know
was
If they've all been used?
I was
and-
off for 5 days, so I haven't been in the closet for a while. But I know somebody was there earlier today to pick them up, and there are more for us to get when if and when the time comes. So
Wonderful.
they were going pretty quick.
Thank you.
And just to reiterate, those are the old-fashioned steering wheel
Clubs.
locks,
Yep.
jacks, clubs, whatever they're called, clubs.
They used to be red, but I saw that you have yellow ones
They're yellow.
now.
I guess it's new and improved somehow. I don't know.
is that just for a specific make, that thing? Wasn't it for?
They make them for all kinds of. I mean, I think they're universal. I think they went with red before because it's like, stop, don't go in here because it's got a
Right.
club.
Right.
And now it's just like caution.
Right.
It has a club. I don't know.
And they're recommending that if you're a Hyundai
Hyundai and Kia, right?
and Kia owner,
Yes.
Put 2 clubs in.
specific models, models
I,
that
I
are
don't,
in there? No.
I haven't watched that TikTok, Your Honor, or, so I don't necessarily know for sure.
Okay, cool.
Perhaps Ms. Kowalski would like to talk about how wonderful that is.
I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I thought.
Do you have
they were-
anything else for us, LT?
I did, actually.
Okay,
I just gotta remember where it was.
okay.
I got a phone call Saturday night into Sunday morning that we had a serious accident on 32 at College that they thought was going to be fatal. Officer Jacobs was working, and state police responded with advanced crash investigator. They preliminary took pictures and did sketches and such. Looked pretty bad for the person driving. Started to fly into shock trauma. And then while en route to shock trauma, they diverted to Sinai. Officer Jacobs went to shock trauma first to try to get a blood kit, realized he wasn't there, then went to Sinai. And as Officer Jacobs is walking in, the driver of that car is walking out. So the hypothesis is he overdosed while he was driving, and it looked like really, really bad. And then once they got him in a helicopter, they gave him Narcan and brought him back. So that, in the entire time that I've ever worked here, we've never had one of those. And I thought maybe this might have been it, but it turns out that it wasn't that. So
Wow.
he was charged. Of course, he refused a blood kit, so we just charged him on what we had. And Officer Jacobs did do field sobriety. And I think because of the way that everything happened, we couldn't have written a warrant for that in a timely manner because he was already cut loose by the time he got there. So there was that. So there's a piece of good news.
Wow. Okay, thank you.
Outside of that, that's all I have.
Single car accident?
Yes,
Anything else, Lieutenant?
I think that's it.
Anything else for the lieutenant? Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. That brings us to council and committee reports. I'll start to my far left. If there's anything.
We have found out that the outage that was supposed to occur to the internet to one of our businesses is going to occur, but in what most people would consider the middle of the night. I'm even in bed by then. So it's late enough that it shouldn't interfere. We are still trying to work to try to get a general moratorium on, and we've been discussing with the Secretary of the Cable Commission. Surprisingly, Comcast doesn't like being pinned down, but that doesn't mean we haven't continued to work. So,
Thank you for
I hit everything that you know. Did you have any extras?
Well, and again, the work that got approved, at least according to the people that have requested the permit for this, said it was not gonna cause an outage. So it's just a matter of.
Yeah, that's part of the problem too. It won't cause an outage,
Right.
but we'll be down for 3 hours.
Right,
That doesn't make sense to me.
No.
Precautionary.
right. Just in case.
Yeah,
it goes
but
down.
no, we were told they were going down, and then they were told not going down until, I always favor if you tell me I might go down, I plan for an outage.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of, different answers from the same person. I'm still working at it.
thank you
As
for
is
your
he.
efforts.
He's coming from one aspect, I'm from another, trying to help our merchants, but we can't get straight answers.
Again, thank you for your efforts, Councilman Dyer.
Next planning commission meeting's on December 4th at 7. And just as a reminder for the council, the plan is to continue to have a conversation about the Joy property, just so you all know.
Okay, thank you, Councilman.
That will be on streamed online.
Yes, thank you.
You have anything
I
for us?
do not.
You have anything for us?
Yes.
Okay.
This Saturday, 3 to 6,
2:45.
Santa is coming to town. Will everyone be joining us in crowd control?
I plan to be there.
That's questionable for me.
Okay.
I may be late. I don't know yet. I have a pickleball tournament going, and I know. I just don't know the times of the pickleball tournament yet. But
But
as soon
we
as
need
I
you
can
by
be
the
there, I will
coats.
be there.
So we are
I
collecting
know.
coats again.
I know. And the line. I keep people safe
I-
in the line.
We need you.
In all honesty, seriously, both of my daughters had car trouble. We're down, I might have to bum a ride from you, but I'll be there. I will be.
You're gonna be
Grassley,
there?
I have never seen anything except his red vehicle coming down Main
I've
Street.
seen him running, but, you know.
Yes,
I've
that's
seen
true.
him running on Main
Questionable,
Street.
it's questionable.
Yes.
What is your Medicare treatment? Yeah.
You'll be there?
I might have a conflict, but I will try to be there sometime at some time.
Are you also in the pickleball
I am
tournament?
not.
Not this
I'm
time.
not. I'm
Leo,
not.
are you able to join us?
If I can get out of the pickleball tournament, I will.
He's just watching. He's just watching.
He's the cheerleading section.
He's just watching.
I will also let you know that we have a gracious previous intern of the town being our tribute to Be Frosty. There was a request that a council member be Frosty this year, so we have offered the tribute. The intern has taken the role. So just so you all know, you don't have to do that. But 3 to 6.
Great.
And then what is
Unless
the,
you want to do that, by all means.
It's funny now, all of a sudden
Lose our
pickleball.
minds.
any update on the, like what we need to prepare for flow with stairs and,
No, we know we're not gonna funnel traffic through the where the model trains are. It'll be open, so people can still go in there if they would like to see it, but we're not gonna force people to go through there to get in line for Santa Claus.
okay, so the line's gonna start right in front of the caboose in the,
Right.
okay.
Something
And then
different.
a,
Little bit.
yeah, and then a
This is a big
reminder.
line year then, I'm telling you.
There, telling people what to do, man.
Just
Yeah.
throw the pickleball tournament. Just throw your last match
Need
and get
plenty of
over
line
here.
attendance for Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And we have, who's doing the hot chocolate this year?
Hot chocolate is the S&P folks.
Okay, so that's,
And then Spark is, or actually, I should say Impact Church is providing coffee for adults.
and a activity for the
And there,
kids?
you know, as always, there'll be a few activities down there.
And then once it gets dark, there'll be, the movie will be up, or the movie screen will be up. So,
Santa Claus is coming
from, yes,
at 3 o'clock.
And what time is he arriving?
he's arriving at 3,
Okay.
When the,
not on the fire truck,
oh, not on the fire truck.
No.
not on the fire truck.
Oh, lordy.
Not to keep confusing everybody, but actually, he probably will be on a fire.
No way. Okay, well then that was changed.
3 o'clock on the fire truck, Santa Claus will be coming. Not 6, but
Not
3.
6, 3 to 6. At 6 o'clock, Santa will exit the caboose and walk over with the mayor,
Sure.
To
I might
light the-
already be over at the tree to light
or
it.
meet the mayor at the
Yeah.
tree
Yeah.
to light the tree on the,
The rest of the council.
And the rest of the
And the
council that's
council,
here after
yes.
playing pickleball.
Correct.
Okay?
right.
Excellent. Do you have anything for us, Councilmember Grassley?
HTC meeting Wednesday. Nothing as exciting as that, but
Fantastic.
I'm here to help.
or pickleball.
Councilmember Keenan?
Just a couple things from DSC. There was a cleanup event hosted by the Boy Scouts September 18th at 10 a.m. There was approximately 20 to 25 attendees that did a
November
great job
18th.
cleaning up the garden. Was it? She wrote September 18th
Yeah.
on here, so I thought that was wrong, but November 18th. The Snallygaster event had 56 registered attendees and their families. The highlights included famous wings, relay races, and complimentary cotton candy. The Main Street Moon Bounce made its comeback and was a major attraction. Next year, the event time will be adjusted to adapt for peak engagement around lunchtime. This Saturday, December 2nd, the DSC is hosting its first Indian culture celebration at Patapsco Distilling Company. It has limited seating and is booked, but we hope this is the first of a long and successful series. Shop Small campaign has started, as many of you have probably seen. The DSC is doing paid and organic social media campaigns with a big increase compared to last year. And you've probably heard the holiday music already starting on Main Street as well, so that's nice. We're hoping to get a lot of downtown traffic this year. And for all the council members who've already contributed to the 2023 Happy-thon, thank you very much. The fundraiser is still ongoing. We have a wish list for 72 children and their families this year with grocery needs and Christmas gift needs. So fundraising is still going on, so feel free to donate to the website that's on, or the link that's on downtownsykesville.com. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Councilman Keenan.
And I will not be here December 11th, and I can't even zoom in because I'll be on a plane, so.
Okay. Is there anything else for the good of the order?
Yes. Christmas decoration contest. Are you gonna do that this year, and when?
December
Housing.
11th.
So we already have our stickers to go on the signs, right? We've received the stickers, the new stickers.
We do, didn't we get them last year?
Well, we were supposed to, but I don't remember if we actually did.
We'll check it out.
Okay.
I know we have plenty of signs.
Yes, we have signs, and then the stickers were to go
We
on
just
the
need the
top of the
stickers
previous
taken
year's print. So, okay, we'll follow up on that. I feel like he sent them to us because he didn't want us to forget, and,
Fairly certain we have them, but
okay,
it's been a year since I looked.
okay. So, yes, I'd like to do it. I guess do we all want to participate in the, holiday
Depends on the day.
decorating?
I would like to
contest?
try.
Sure.
Participate.
Okay.
Then,
It's one of the highlights of the year for me.
Haven't in the past, we've done it on a Thursday?
No,
No?
it's been all, every,
Okay.
yeah. no.
Yeah, I feel like it has.
Be great if we
Been
didn't
all
do it
over.
on a Thursday though.
Yeah, Thursday's pickleball day for,
I cannot do it the
council
12th.
Pickleball league.
But other than that, I should, and I can't do it the 14th, and I can't do it the,
Who's got the big car? Who's got a big car?
I mean, I took the truck last time,
we took
but
2
that's
cars
fine,
last
we
year.
took 2
Yep.
cars.
There's you.
Mayor drove separately, and then we took the.
Monday the
So I can
18th or
fit
Tuesday the
5 in
19th?
truck, but
Monday the 18th.
Monday the 18th.
Either of those work for me.
Yeah, both of them, either one.
Monday the 18th.
That's a week from Christmas. If their lights aren't up by then, they're
Yeah,
not gonna
agreed.
participate.
put them at all, yes.
Does that work for everyone else that
What
hasn't
time
said
are we
anything?
talking?
Will the mayor have her
5
lights
o'clock,
up by
I think
the
it starts.
18th of December? Because we all want to
6
drive past the house.
6 o'clock.
Yes, the mayor will have her
6
lights up by
o'clock?
the 18th.
Okay, 6 o'clock on
No
Monday the
shame
18th.
meant there.
Nice, Chairman.
As long as I don't get.
It's not even December yet.
That's right, it's not. Thank you, Councilmember
It's not even
Grassley.
December.
I might have
Monday
a
the
person in my
18th
house
at
that's already talking about it.
6, can we do 6 on the
Sure.
18th?
6.
Julio, will you write that down, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you. And I need to make a note of it, but I can't do that because I'm running this meeting. Is there any other announcements for the good of the order?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, council
Second.
member. Thank you, council member. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 8:37. Boy, is 5 o'clock gonna come early tomorrow.
So Matt got asked